Part 2 of I Want Some Sugar, So I'm Having You Tonight, Korean Mafia whispered to Palisade Adebayo. Palisade woke to sunlight like a promise and a pounding in her chest that had nothing to do with the morning light. The penthouse was quiet. Jinwoo was not at her side. For a stupid second she felt relief, then a hollow, awful space where his presence should have been. She slipped on a silk robe Jinwoo had left hanging over a chair. It smelled faintly of cedar and something sharp that reminded her of the club, the scent of danger dressed in cologne. Memories of the rooftop, of his whisper near her ear, of the way his hand had hovered as if reluctant to claim her, surged back and left her breathless. In the living room Jinwoo stood with his back to her, phone pressed to his ear, shoulders tensed like a coiled spring. His language when he spoke was clipped Korean, urgent and cold. The Jinwoo who'd wrapped her in tenderness the night before was already at war again with the world that shaped him. He hung up and turned slowly. When his eyes settled on her they softened, but only in the small circle of her. Beyond that circle the darkness remained. "Palisade," he said, voice low and raw. "You're awake." Relief and fear collided in her. "You left," she said, trying to keep the tremor out of it. "I had to move," he answered without hesitation. "They're active tonight. I thought it would be safer if I wasn't here." He didn't finish the sentence, but the meaning was clear. He feared bringing danger into her life simply by staying. She stepped nearer despite the warning in his tone. "Why are you saying that now? You promised?" His jaw tightened. "I promised many things." He crossed the room and stopped so close that she could see the tiny scar at his temple. "Not all of them are mine to keep." He cupped her face, scarred fingers gentle, betraying the violence they were capable of. The intimacy of the gesture made her weak. "They saw us on the rooftop," he said simply. "My enemies. They noticed the way I looked at you." Palisade felt the floor tilt beneath her. "They noticed me?" Jinwoo's eyes were flat and deadly. "They noticed you. They think using you will make me reckless. They'll try to hurt what I hold dear to send a message." A cold wash of dread pooled under her ribs. "Then leave me." His laugh, short, humorless, hit like another sentence of warning. "And let them chase you across continents? Hand you over to their games? No, I won't. I brought this into your life and I will fix it." Her throat tightened. "You could send me away." He closed his eyes for a heartbeat, then opened them like someone who'd chosen pain over cowardice. "I could, but I won't. If I send you away I'll lose you. I won't risk that." Palisade swallowed hard. "You keep saying want like it's a weakness." "It is," he admitted, voice dropping. "Wanting you is a weakness I didn't have permission to have. It makes me careless, loud, visible. That is dangerous in my world." She reached up and ran her thumb along the edge of his knuckle. "Then we face it together." For a long moment he simply looked at her, a man mapped by violence and loyalty, suddenly disarmed by something small and stubborn and luminous, her. He leaned forward, forehead resting against hers. "You're my sugar," he murmured, voice raw. "But being sweet comes with a price." Before she could answer, a thunderous boom shook the room. The glass windows quivered, the alarm in the penthouse screamed. Something had detonated somewhere near the compound, a message or an attempt or both. Jinwoo's entire body switched from lover to predator in a single breath. The tenderness drained away, replaced by a cold efficiency she'd seen once before and feared more than anything. "Get behind me," he said, teeth barely hidden. He moved with the speed of a man who had rehearsed this fear, ushering her toward a reinforced corridor. Men in black surged through the doorway, radios chattering. Jinwoo barked orders and clipped Korean, positions, sweep, lock down, and his voice was the voice of command. As they secured the immediate area, Jinwoo checked her like a man checking the most valuable thing he had ever had the misfortune of loving. Hands scanning for shrapnel, eyes searching for shock. "You're unharmed?" he demanded. Palisade felt guilty at how quickly she answered. "Yes, I'm okay." He didn't relax. He never did when it came to her. "They're escalating," he said, and the word tasted like iron in the air. "They want to prove a point." She hated how small she felt under his stare and how safe she did at the same time. She hated that he had the right to both. "Why me?" she whispered. Because she knew the truth now, because she'd watched the way he hunted and protected, because she'd seen the cost of being near him. "Because you make me forget myself," Jinwoo said. "Because you showed me I could want anything other than power. Because I am a man who only takes what he wants, and you are the first thing I can't walk away from." His words landed with the weight of confession. She should have stepped back. Instead, she braced herself against him, for comfort and for the storm. Jinwoo's hands tightened around her shoulders for a heartbeat. Then, softer, fingers brushing her hair from her face, he promised, "I'll cut off the head of whoever thinks they can use you." Palisade let out a breath she'd been holding. Then don't make me a weapon, she said. Make me your equal. Teach me to see what you see. Let me stand with you. He considered her, anger and affection warring in his expression. Finally he nodded. Tomorrow we train, he said. Tonight we survive. He guided her to a secure room, a living space turned bunker, reinforced walls, a window that could be shuttered, a small arsenal tucked behind a bank of fake books. The men moved like shadows around the edges, respectful and merciless all at once. Jinwoo sat across from her on the small couch, close enough that the ordinary distance between two people collapsed. He lit a cigarette with hands that had taken lives and saved loyalty. The smoke curled up like a question. Do you know what this cost me? He asked quietly. To let you stay? To let you see me like that? Palisade looked at him, at the man who had ordered both tenderness and war. We both pay the cost of wanting, she answered. But I'd rather stand in the fire with you than hide from it alone. He studied her, the lines around his eyes deepening. For the first time since she'd met him, she watched a man weigh love against legacy and choose badly on purpose. Jinwoo reached for her hand, not to possess but to anchor. If they come for you through me, I will bury them, he promised. If they come for you through me, I will burn down the pieces of my world. I will not lose you. Outside, the city buzzed oblivious. Inside, the two of them sat in a bruise of quiet, love folded into violence. The consequences of Jinwoo's want lay heavy in the room. A promise that he would pay any price and a promise that the price would be theirs alone. They both knew the war had only just begun. The safe house was too quiet. Palisade sat on the edge of the reinforced bed, staring at the closed steel door Jinwoo had slipped through 20 minutes earlier. He said he needed 5 minutes, but Palisade was starting to learn that in Jinwoo's world, time bent around danger. She rubbed her palms together, trying to ignore the metallic hum of the security system, the distant thud of guards moving like ghosts, the faint echo of the explosion that had rocked the penthouse. She wasn't scared. Not of danger. Not anymore. She was scared of what Jinwoo was willing to do because of her. The door clicked. She jerked up. Jinwoo entered, hair ruffled, shirt half undone, a cut near his collarbone he hadn't had earlier. Fresh, shallow, but still a cut. Palisade's heart dropped. You're hurt. He shook his head. It's nothing. It's something, she countered, stepping closer. What happened? Jinwoo hesitated, a rare thing for him. Then he pulled a small, blood-smeared card from his pocket. Palisade froze. A calling card. A signature. The back was marked with a crude drawing of a raven, black ink, smeared at the edge as if handled roughly. Jinwoo's voice came out low, controlled. It was pinned to the security gate outside the building. With a knife. Her stomach tightened. Knife? That means... He was close, Jinwoo finished. Too close. He finally met her eyes. This is from Han Jae-rock. Palisade didn't know the name, but the way Jinwoo said it made her blood run cold. Who is he? Jinwoo's jaw clenched. A rival, who doesn't play by rules. He's been waiting for an excuse to provoke my family. Now he thinks he's found one. He handed her the card. There were only 3 words written on it in English. Sweet things spoil. Palisade felt her breath hitch. He's talking about me. He's threatening you, Jinwoo corrected darkly. And through you, me. She stared at him. This is why you tried to push me away this morning. Jinwoo looked suddenly exhausted. Palisade, wanting you is the first mistake he thinks he can punish. She stepped closer until she was right in front of him. Then let him try. Jinwoo blinked, startled, almost proud, almost pained. Angel, this isn't your fight. But I'm in it, she said. Whether either of us wants that or not. His breath faltered. She took his face in her hands. The cut on his shoulder, the strain in his eyes, she saw all of it. Stop acting like you're alone in this. Jinwoo swallowed hard. If anything happens to you, Palisade, I will erase entire families. I will destroy cities. I won't survive it. You don't know what you've become to me. He said it like a confession he'd been choking on. Palisade didn't let him look away. Then teach me. Jinwoo frowned. Teach you what? To see danger. To fight. To protect myself. You can't expect me to hide behind you forever. He was silent for a long moment, staring at her with an emotion that was equal parts awe and fear. Then he gently took her hand. Come with me. He led her out into the training hall, a long room lined with mats, weapons locked behind bulletproof glass, punching bags hanging like silent witnesses. A few guards stood at attention, but Jinwoo dismissed them with a flick of his hand. He walked her to the center of the room. First rule, he said quietly. You never freeze. He moved behind her, his hand hovering near her waist but not touching. his voice a low rumble against her ear. Second rule, you look for exits before you look for threats. Palisade nodded slowly. And the third rule? She asked. Jinwoo's fingers finally brushed her forearm, guiding her stance. Never let an enemy close enough to touch you. She turned slightly, eyes rising to meet his. His gaze dipped to her lips, then snapped away as if he couldn't trust himself. Show me, she whispered. The words hit him hard. He took a steadying breath and circled her, showing her how to block a strike, how to turn her weight, how to use her hips for balance. His touch was firm but careful, fingers strong against her wrist, guiding her into positions meant for survival. They moved together, step by step, breath by breath. The softness of last night replaced with something fiercer, something binding. At one point she stumbled. He caught her instantly, arms around her waist, breath warm on her neck. Easy, he murmured. I've got you. For a moment neither of them moved. His heartbeat thudded against her back. Her breath shivered through the space between them. Every unsaid thing crackled in the air. Then Jinwoo pulled back, too fast, too sharply, retreating like a man escaping his own desire. This training is for your safety, he said. Not for whatever this is between us. Palisade stepped toward him. Jinwoo, she said softly, this is both. He looked like he wanted to argue. Then like he wanted to kiss her. Then like he wanted to tear down a wall with his bare hands. Before he could choose, a guard burst into the hall. Kangnim. Boss. Jinwoo's entire body went still. What is it? He demanded. The guard swallowed. Han Jae-rock just released a video message. For you. Jinwoo's eyes sharpened. And? It's about her. Palisade felt the room tilt. Jinwoo's pupils constricted, fury detonating in his gaze. Show me, he ordered. As the guard sprinted out, Jinwoo turned to Palisade, and for the first time since she met him, he looked truly afraid. Not for himself. Not for his power. For her. The room darkened as the training hall door slid shut behind the guard, who returned with a tablet clutched tight to his chest. Jinwoo took it without a word. His fingers were steady, but his jaw was locked in a way that made everyone else silently step back. He didn't press play right away. He looked at Palisade first, long, slow, searching her face as if memorizing it in case what he saw next broke something inside him. His voice when it came was low. You don't need to watch this. Palisade stepped forward. If it's about me, I do. Jinwoo swallowed, nodded once and hit play. The screen flickered. A dark room appeared. Dim red lighting. A figure sitting in a leather chair, posture loose, arrogant, enjoying the camera like a stage. Han Jae-rock. He was younger than Palisade expected, late 20s maybe. Handsome in a sharp, venomous way. He wore a raven-shaped brooch on his lapel, the same symbol that stained the card Jinwoo had shown her. He smiled at the camera with teeth too white and eyes too empty. Jinwoo Kang, he said in perfect Korean. The subtitles auto-generated in English. I've been waiting for you to make a mistake. Jinwoo's breath tightened. Jae-rock leaned forward. Thank you, he whispered. For giving me one. He held up a photo. Palisade stopped breathing. It was a shot of her on the rooftop the night Jinwoo first kissed her. Wind pushing her hair, city lights framing her, Jinwoo's hand at her waist. The intimacy was undeniable. Jae-rock smirked. She's beautiful, young. Different. Bull. I can see why you'd break your precious rules for her. Jinwoo's hand clenched around the tablet so hard the frame creaked. Jae-rock continued, but you know how this world works. Anything you touch becomes currency. Anything you love becomes leverage. His smile sharpened. So I'm making you an offer. Jinwoo muttered under his breath in Korean, a word Palisade didn't understand, but she felt the fury behind it like static in the air. The video cut to a grainy clip, a street camera. Someone had followed Palisade days ago without her noticing. Leaving the market. Buying fruit. Laughing with a vendor. Jae-rock's voice narrated, smooth and cold. She walks alone sometimes. That's good for me, bad for you. Palisade's stomach twisted. Jinwoo looked like he might break the screen in half. Jae-rock leaned back in his chair and folded his arms. 1 week, Jinwoo. 1 week to deliver the Kong ledger to me. Or I take your sugar. The word hit like a bullet. He blew a kiss to the camera. The screen went black. Silence swallowed the room. Palisade looked at Jinwoo slowly, afraid of what she might see, panic, anger, despair. But his face was terrifyingly still. Too still. His stillness was the kind only killers had, the silence before a storm. Jinwoo, she whispered. He didn't respond. He stared at the black screen until his reflection glared back at him, eyes dark, pupils blown wide with rage. Then he threw the tablet across the room. It hit the wall and exploded into sparks. 2 guards jumped. Palisade flinched. Jinwoo didn't even seem to notice. He followed you, Jinwoo growled. He watched you. He got that close to you and I didn't even know. His voice shook. Not with fear. With wrath. Palisade stepped forward. This is not your fault. It is, Jinwoo snapped. Everything he said was right. You became leverage the moment you walked into my life. And he broke off, breath shuddering. I should have protected you harder. She grabbed his wrist. Jinwoo. Look at me. He did. The rawness in his eyes nearly broke her. You are not going to blame yourself for his madness, she said. He would have targeted someone else anyway. He wants war, not me. Jinwoo laughed bitterly. Palisade, you are not someone else. You're the one thing he knows I would bleed for. He stepped closer, voice dropping low and trembling. And that gives him power I cannot allow. She held his face gently, grounding him. Then we take it away. How? His voice cracked. He has an army behind him. He knows my weaknesses. He knows yours. I don't have weaknesses, she said, lifting her chin. I have choices. And I choose to stand with you. He froze. The room forgot to breathe. Jinwoo's hand rose slowly, resting against her cheek like he was touching something holy. You don't know what standing with me really means. Then teach me, she whispered. But don't shut me out. For the first time since the video ended, something softened in him. Just a fraction. But enough. Jinwoo pulled her into him, not rough, not desperate, but with the weight of someone who finally let himself lean on another person. I'm going to end him, he murmured into her hair. I swear to you. I will tear down everything he has. But before that. He pulled back, thumb brushing her cheek. I'm moving you somewhere safer. She blinked. Where? A house outside the city. No windows facing the streets. Reinforced steel doors. My most loyal men. His jaw hardened. You're not stepping outside without me. Palisade opened her mouth to argue, but his gaze told her this wasn't negotiable. Jinwoo, she said softly, I don't want you to fight alone. He kissed her forehead, slow, lingering, protective. You're not alone, he whispered. You're with me. But I won't let you become a casualty in my war. Then he held her tighter as if anchoring himself. Unseen by both of them, one of Jinwoo's lieutenants stepped quietly to the doorway. Kangnim, he said cautiously. Jinwoo didn't look up. Speak. We found something else. Another delivery outside the building. Jinwoo's entire body tensed. What delivery? The lieutenant hesitated. It's a gift box. And? Jinwoo demanded. The man swallowed. It has Palisade's name on it. The moment the lieutenant spoke, the atmosphere in the training hall shifted. Not tense, lethal. Jinwoo straightened slowly, his hand still wrapped protectively around Palisade's wrist. He didn't move toward the lieutenant. He didn't speak. He didn't even blink. He simply said in a voice that made even the walls seem to recoil. Where is the box? The lieutenant bowed his head. In the west secured corridor, Kangnim. We haven't opened it. Good, Jinwoo said. You're still alive because of that. Palisade felt her pulse spike. Jinwoo's fury wasn't loud, it was cold, quiet, precise. The kind of rage that didn't explode, it executed. She tightened her fingers around his. Don't open it alone. He looked at her, and for a moment his ice melted into something like worry. Then he shook his head. You're not going anywhere near it. But. He placed 2 fingers under her chin, lifting her face gently but firmly. Angel, he murmured, if that box is from Han Jirok, it's not a gift. It's a message meant to scare you, or provoke me. I won't let him see either. His thumb brushed her jawline, a gesture so tender it almost didn't match the steel in his eyes. Stay behind me, he said. He didn't ask. He commanded. But his tone held something like fear. Fear for her, never of her. Palisade nodded. Jinwoo signaled to the guards with a curt gesture. 2 formed a perimeter around him, 2 more around her. They moved quickly into the west corridor, a narrow passage where the walls were reinforced steel and the lighting was dim. Every footstep echoed like a countdown. At the end of the hallway sat a small black box on a pedestal, wrapped in a red ribbon. Her name written in looping gold ink. Palisade. Her lungs tightened. Jinwoo exhaled slowly through his nose, rage simmering beneath the surface. He's mocking me. The lieutenant stood behind him. Kangnim, we scan the outside. No explosives, no chemicals. Which means the danger is inside, Jinwoo murmured. Palisade stepped forward before she could think. Jinwoo. He stopped her with an arm across her front, body angled between her and the box. Stay back. Not loud. Not angry. Final. He nodded to his men. One handed him a tactical knife. Jinwoo cut the ribbon in a single movement, slow and controlled. He lifted the lid. Palisade held her breath. A puff of scented air rose from the box. Floral, faint, familiar. Inside rested a white silk scarf. A small envelope. A single raven feather dipped in crimson. Jinwoo's fist clenched around the edge of the box. Palisade frowned. A scarf. Jinwoo lifted it. Her heart dropped. Because she recognized it. It was the scarf she had worn the day she first met him at the club. A soft white piece she tucked into her purse when security asked her to remove it. She had lost it that night in the chaos. Jinwoo stared at it like it was a sin. He took this, Jinwoo said, voice low and deadly. He touched what was yours before I even knew it was missing. The thought made Palisade's stomach twist. Jinwoo opened the envelope. A handwritten note slid out. He read it silently at first. Then he whispered it aloud, his voice barely contained. I always take the first thing my enemies care about. The next thing I take is the last. Underneath, a second line. Does she like white? Should I send the dress next? Jinwoo crumpled the note so violently the paper tore beneath his fingers. Palisade stepped forward, placing her hand on his forearm. His muscles were so tense he felt like he was made of stone. Jinwoo, she said softly, look at me. He looked, and for the first time since the video she saw something raw break through his fury, panic. Real panic. He touched something of yours, Jinwoo whispered. He got that close to you, Palisade. Too close. Close enough to take things off your body. Close enough to feel comfortable touching your name. His voice trembled. Jinwoo never trembled. Palisade moved closer, placing both hands against his chest. But that scarf isn't me. And he hasn't gotten close to me. You stopped him. Jinwoo cupped her face with both hands, lowering his forehead to hers like he needed her breath to stay grounded. No, he murmured. I haven't stopped him. Not yet. Then he straightened, eyes sharp and ruthless again. To the car, he ordered his men. We're leaving. Palisade blinked. Where are we going? Jinwoo pulled her close, his hand at the small of her back, protective, firm, possessive. To the safe house outside the city, he said. But first, we need to speak to my uncle. Palisade's heart skipped. Your uncle? Why? Jinwoo met her gaze, expression hardening into something she'd never seen before. Because he's the only one who knows how Han Jae-rock got my security layouts. Palisade froze. You think someone betrayed you? Jinwoo's jaw flexed. Not someone. His eyes darkened, cold as midnight storms. A member of my own family. Palisade felt the weight of it. The danger. The betrayal. The war that was coming. Jinwoo wrapped an arm around her, pulling her tightly against him as the guards flanked them. Stay close to me, he whispered. Until I unmask the traitor, you don't leave my sight. She swallowed and nodded against his chest. Good girl, he murmured, kissing the top of her head, a quick, fierce gesture she could feel all the way down her spine. They turned toward the exit together, a united front. But as they walked, Palisade looked back at the box. At the scarf. At the feather. At the ink written in menace. Something told her the worst was still coming. And Jinwoo knew it too. The ride back to Jinwoo's penthouse should have been quiet. It should have been calm. But nothing about being near Jinwoo Kong was ever calm. The black SUV sliced through Seoul's midnight streets, neon lights reflecting in streaks across the windows. Palisade sat beside him, her spine tense, her hands twisting in her lap. She could still feel the echo of the danger. A man spying on her, Jinwoo grabbing him, the cold look in Jinwoo's eyes. That look terrified her. But it also told her something new. He would protect her with violence if necessary. Jinwoo sat beside her, hands clasped, jaw clenched so tightly she could hear the grind of it. He had said nothing since they left the cafe. Nothing except, stay close to me. His voice repeated in her head like a forbidden echo. Finally she turned. Jinwoo, she whispered. Talk to me. Say something. He didn't look at her. His fists were still shaking. Do you know what almost happened today? He asked quietly. She swallowed. Someone watched me. No, he corrected, his voice throbbing with darkness. Someone targeted you. Someone marked you. And I can't? He stopped, pressing his fingers against his eyes like he was in pain. Palisade, I can't lose you. Her breath caught. He'd never said anything close to that before. Why? She asked softly, trying to read him. Jinwoo turned toward her with a look so raw it almost broke her. Anger, fear, possession, longing all burning together. Because you are the only person who makes me. He stopped again, fists clenching. Who makes me feel something I have no business feeling. Her heartbeat jumped. What are you saying? He leaned closer. His voice dropped to that dangerous whisper she'd felt the first night. I want you more every day. And every day I fight myself not to take you, not to keep you, not to pull you into my world for good. Because if you enter, you will never get out. The SUV went silent. Even the city noise felt far away. Jinwoo, she whispered. But he wasn't done. When that man watched you, when he followed you, something inside me snapped. He shook his head. I wanted to kill him right there. I wanted to take your hand and drag you into my arms where no one could touch you. His voice trembled with barely contained emotion. I wanted you safe. With me. Only me. Her breath shuddered. This was not the cold, unreadable mafia don the world feared. This was a man undone. Look at me, Jinwoo, she said, placing her hand on his fist. He stiffened when she touched him, like her skin burned him. Slowly he turned to face her. Palisade, he breathed. Don't touch me like that unless you know what you're doing. Her fingers stayed on his hand deliberately. I know. His breath hitched. Just then the SUV slowed as the penthouse gates opened. Jinwoo grabbed her hand, firmly not letting go, and whispered, Tonight you're not leaving my sight. Her heartbeat raced. Are you protecting me? She asked. He leaned closer, lips brushing the shell of her ear. No, he murmured. I'm claiming you. The SUV stopped. Jinwoo stepped out first, pulling her gently but possessively behind him, his hand clasping hers like she might disappear if he released her. The guards bowed. But Jinwoo's eyes never left Palisade. From this moment, he said softly, anyone who looks at you is looking at what's mine. Her breath trembled. Jinwoo. His thumb brushed the back of her hand, slow, intentional. Don't worry, he whispered. I'll keep you safe, even if I have to burn half of Seoul to do it. Her stomach dropped. Her chest tightened. Because she believed him. And worse, she wasn't sure she wanted him to stop. The elevator ride to Jinwoo's penthouse felt like it lasted forever, even though it was only 30 seconds. 30 seconds of silence. 30 seconds of tension. 30 seconds of Jinwoo Kang standing beside Palisade, shoulders rigid, jaw tight, breath sharp and uneven. He wasn't angry. He wasn't calm either. He was something in between. Something dangerous. When the doors opened, the penthouse lights came alive automatically, warm, golden, soft. The enormous floor-to-ceiling windows revealed the entire Seoul skyline, glittering like diamonds scattered across black velvet. Palisade stepped inside slowly. She had been here before, but never like this. Never after he said he was claiming her. Never after he swore he would burn the city for her safety. Jinwoo closed the door behind them. Click. The sound echoed down her spine. He didn't move. Didn't speak. Just watched her, like he was trying to calm something violent inside himself. Palisade, he said finally, voice low, come here. She turned, pulse trembling. He wasn't giving an order. He was asking, but with a soft desperation she'd never heard from him before. She walked toward him, slowly. When she reached him, Jinwoo lifted a hand but stopped just short of touching her cheek. His fingers hovered there, trembling faintly. I shouldn't do this, he murmured. Do what? She whispered. Feel this much. The confession hit her like a wave. This was the man everyone feared, the meticulous, cold, unshakable Jinwoo Kang. But right now, he looked shaken. Because of her. He finally let his fingertips touch her cheek. And the moment he did, something shifted in the air, like warmth flooding a room that had been cold for years. Today, Jinwoo said quietly, brushing a curl behind her ear, when I thought something might happen to you, I realized how deeply you've gotten into my blood. Her breath caught. And I didn't let you walk out of my sight, he continued, because I couldn't. Not anymore. Palisade placed her hand over his. Jinwoo, I'm not afraid of you. His eyes softened, and darkened all at once. You should be. But I'm not. Jinwoo exhaled a shaky breath and leaned his forehead against hers. You make me lose control, he whispered. You make me feel things I've denied for years. And it terrifies me, Palisade, because I don't want to pull you into my world, but I can't let you go either. The vulnerability in his voice made her chest ache. Then don't let me go, she whispered. Jinwoo stiffened at her words, then slowly lifted her chin with 2 fingers. Palisade, he breathed, you don't know what you're asking for. Then tell me. His eyes locked onto hers, dark, intense, full of conflict. I am a man who doesn't love softly. I don't desire gently. When I want someone. His thumb traced her lower lip, slow enough to steal her breath. I want them completely. Her pulse hammered. And when I protect someone, he continued, I protect them with everything. Even if it means hurting others, or myself. The air between them tightened. You're not just walking into my life, he whispered. You're walking into my war. Instead of fear, warmth bloomed in her chest. Then I'll walk carefully, she whispered back. Jinwoo's breath slipped out in a slow, trembling exhale. And then, he cupped her jaw with both hands, holding her like she was something precious. Something fragile. Something he'd been terrified to touch but couldn't resist anymore. Palisade. Her name left his lips like a prayer and a warning mixed together. If I kiss you now, I won't be able to stop. Her lips parted, soft, trembling. Then don't stop. Jinwoo's self-control shattered. He pulled her against him, slowly, carefully, like he was afraid she might break, and lowered his forehead to hers again, his breathing uneven, his thumb stroking her cheek as if memorizing her. He didn't kiss her yet, but it was close. So close she could feel the heat of his lips hovering just above hers. I need you safe first, he whispered against her mouth, voice rough. And then I'll have you the way I've wanted since the first night you tempted me. Her knees weakened at his words. And Palisade? He added, lifting her chin slightly. Yes, she whispered. His lips brushed hers, barely, softly, but enough to steal her breath. When I finally take you. His voice dropped to a whisper of pure, controlled fire. It won't be gentle. The room spun. Her heart raced. And Jinwoo stepped back, just enough to keep his promise of control. Come, he said quietly. You're staying here tonight. I'll protect you. Not a question. A vow. And Palisade. She didn't want to say no. Not anymore. The guest room Jinwoo guided Palisade into was softer than the rest of his penthouse. Warm lighting, plush blankets, a faint lavender scent drifting through the air. It was meant to soothe her. But nothing could soothe her now. Not after the way Jinwoo touched her face. Not after the way he whispered he couldn't stop if he kissed her. Not after the terrifying confession that he wanted her completely. She could still feel the heat of his breath on her lips. He stood in the doorway now, watching her with an unreadable expression, like he was fighting himself again. You'll sleep here tonight, he said quietly. I've doubled security. No one gets in or out without my approval. Palisade nodded, but her voice was soft. Jinwoo, are they still looking for me? His jaw tightened. He stepped inside, closing the door behind him. I didn't want to tell you yet, he said, walking toward her with slow, tense steps. But yes, what happened today wasn't random. She swallowed hard. Who were they? Jinwoo looked away, shoulders tight, hands in fists. Someone who wants to hurt me, he said. And now they're trying to use you to do it. Her heartbeat stumbled. So I'm in danger because of you, she whispered. He flinched, then nodded once, slow, tortured. Yes. And you brought me here because you think they'll try again? I brought you here, he said, voice low and fierce, because I will not let them touch you. Not even once. His eyes met hers. Raw. Unprotected. Almost broken. You didn't ask for any of this, he continued. My world, my enemies, my complications. She stepped closer. Jinwoo. He lifted a hand. Let me finish. His voice was rough, as if each word scraped him on the way out. I've tried to push you away. I've tried to deny what I feel. I've tried to keep you at a distance so you wouldn't become a target. Jinwoo. But today proved something, he said, breathing unevenly. It doesn't matter what I try. They've seen how I look at you. They know you mean something to me. Palisade froze. He had never said it outright until now. Jinwoo looked at her, eyes full of something intense and unrestrained. You do mean something to me, he murmured. More than I can say. More than I should ever allow. Silence pressed between them. Slowly she reached for his hand. Then stop fighting it, she whispered. His breath caught. He stared at her like she'd knocked the air out of him. Palisade, his voice cracked just a little. I'm dangerous. I know. I destroy things. I know. I ruin people. I'm still here. He closed his eyes as if her words physically hurt him. Palisade, he whispered, if you stay close to me I won't be able to let you go. Her hand tightened around his. Then don't let go. His eyes opened slowly, and the look inside them made her chest ache. Desire, fear, longing, helplessness. The storm. He stepped closer, closing all the distance. His hand slid up her arm, slow, warm, careful, until it rested on her jaw. His thumb stroked her cheek, feather-light. He leaned in, breath brushing her lips. And she melted into him. Tell me to stop, he whispered, trembling. I won't. Jinwoo exhaled sharply, a sound almost like surrender. He rested his forehead against hers again, the way he always did when he was trying to hold himself together. I want you, he breathed. More than I've ever wanted anything. But if I take one more step, you won't be able to walk away from me. Ever. Her voice shook as she whispered, "I don't want to walk away." The room went very still. Jinwoo's control snapped, silently internally, but she felt it. His fingers slid into her curls. His lips brushed her jaw, the corner of her mouth, then her cheek, reverent and slow. But he didn't kiss her lips. He pulled back suddenly, breathing hard, eyes burning like wildfire. "Not tonight," he said, forcing the words out like they cut him. "Not when you're scared, not when you're in danger, not when someone out there wants to use you against me. But..." He placed a finger on her lips. "When I kiss you," he whispered, "when I finally take you into my arms." His eyes dropped to her mouth before rising again, darker than she had ever seen them. "It will be because you're safe. Because you're mine by choice, not fear." She swallowed, chest trembling. "Jinwoo." He brushed her cheek one last time, softer than a sigh. "Sleep," he murmured. "I'll be right outside your door." He turned to leave. But at the doorway he paused, hand on the frame, head bowed like he was fighting himself. Without looking back, he said quietly, "Falisade, don't be afraid to want me. I've been yours since the night you walked into my life." Then he left. And Falisade sank onto the bed, heart pounding, realizing. This wasn't just danger. This wasn't just desire. This was the beginning of something deeper. Something powerful. Something that could ruin them both. Or save them. And outside the door, Jinwoo Kang stood guard, shoulders tense, eyes sharp, gun holstered, protecting the woman who was becoming his greatest weakness. And the only person he'd ever kill for without hesitation.